You having fun with that?
What?
You having fun with that?
Yep.
All right. Well, we're live. So, hello. Welcome to another edition of the Edlow podcast. And we are here. Oh, subscribe if you're listening. Hit subscribe wherever you're listening. YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Today is the 50th episode, of the Edlow podcast. And for the 50th episode, I have a very special guest. I have the world famous breakfast making actress, Lexi Edlow. Hello, Lexi.
Hello. That's a nice way to introduce me. Breakfast
Yeah,
making.
well, of course. Well, that's what you're known for amongst the Edlow podcast listeners. You're a fancy breakfast maker,
Okay.
dancer slash actress. And so excited to have you on here. And I can tell that you're having fun with your microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you get closer to the microphone when you talk, okay? So that way we
Okay.
can hear you.
Let me get a chair.
All
This chair does not work very well.
All
Okay.
right. Well, fun. Okay. So, Lexi, let's talk about you. So, you just had an interesting experience this last week.
Mhm.
Before you left, you were not super stoked about going, and I was able to convince you to go against your will. But you
Yes.
went to girls' camp.
Yep.
And what did you think about girls' camp?
It was extremely fun, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
Especially since I lost my voice on the dance. They had like a dance on Thursday. Lost my voice for the first time in years.
mm,
It was so much fun.
yeah. You just singing along?
Yeah, and dancing and jumping. My legs are still sore too.
Oh, fun.
My voice is still gone.
Well, that's just amazing. So tell me what happens for those who don't know, what happens at girls' camp?
So pretty much the first day is just getting introduced to it. You go, you set up everything, and then you have your first thing. They call it programs, where they do skits and fake little ads, especially flex tape. Flex tape guys, everyone's favorite. Whenever we see him, everyone just starts screaming. He fixed the flex tape, fixed everything. Like everyone kept joking around, like flex tape can fix anything. Flex tape can fix a broken bone. Flex tape can fix that. Snoring roommate. Flex tape can fix that, and stuff like that. And yeah, and we did a skit. First year, they do the first, like we did a Cinderella skit because it was Disney princess themed. I was Cinderella, and it was like a bunch of animals in groups of two would come out and be like, "Is this your shoe? Is this your shoe?" Until the prince came out and gave her the shoe. There was a pine cone, flip flop, a bunch of random shoes. They put the wrong the wrong foot of a shoe on, and it was just, yeah. So that was fun. And then the second day, you actually get to do a bunch of other things. You get to do free time. I did polar bear too, polar bear plunge. Woke up. I woke up. So I was on an air mattress on a top bunk of a bed, and the bed would be completely full. The first night, I could not sleep at all until about 3 a.m. So pretty much what would happen is I'd be just like staring at the ceiling, thinking that I'd shift positions, look at my friend Emma, we'd wave, and then we'd go to the bathroom and come back. And that would happen so many times until I actually fell asleep. And then in the morning, we woke up at 6:05 to do polar bear. My bed was completely deflated. And so I woke up on just the board that was underneath me. It happened every single day. But woke up for polar bear. It was freezing cold, but burning hot in the night. Then the next day, we did like little class things. I won second place for most axes stuck at axe throwing. We called it tomahawks. Um,
Mm.
but then we also did BBs and archery. Then we had, then we did, first year did a hike, and then we got to cook hot dogs over a fire for our lunch. Everyone else got lunch earlier, but we did that. Everyone bombarded me with pickup lines, and it was very fun. And then after lunch, after that, we did free time, which was only half an hour because for us because we had the hike. But we got to do free time. I think I went to Crafts and Craft Shack and Mail Shack. Everyone had like little mailboxes. But yeah, I went to that, and then the next day, after free time, we had dinner and everything. The next day, we did polar bear again. Then did the same things. At night, we'd have everyone at different level do a skit, but then that's at night, and then all the big sisters would go up on stage and sing, and then we'd go around a campfire and they'd finish singing. Then we'd go to bed. Quiet time was at 10, and we'd get there around like 9 something. Then Wednesday, it was practically the same, except we got to eat lunch with everyone else. And I'm surprised because not many people put their elbows on the table. If you do, then and somebody catches you, you have to run around the big sister table. And yeah, and then for free time, I went to BB's, I think. Yeah, I went to Craft Shack and BB's where I shot a penny and a dog tag. I got to keep them. And I went to the waterfront, which is like a pond they have, and went on a zip line, which I was very scared to go on, but went on it anyway.
Ooh. So hold on, stop right there. So you were afraid to go on the zip line. Why? Is that because you have a fear of heights?
Yeah, it wasn't super high, but I went on it, and it was really fun. I went on it every time during free time. I spent most of my time at the waterfront. They had paddle boards and kayaks as well, but I didn't go on a kayak. I went on a paddle board. Then most of the time I'd go on the zip line and swim around. It was always freezing cold though, because it didn't get 100 degrees up there in the mountains. But yeah, that was fun.
Oh, fun. So then you had on Thursday, that was the big dance, right?
Yeah, Thursday was the big dance. That was after programs, which at programs on Thursday, that's when the priesthood holders, they did their skit. They killed Naveen it was the fairy. So for programs, sort of like the host for it was the fairy godmother from Shrek, which was, I don't know her last name, but a girl named Haley, who I think she goes to our school. But she, for that day, for that skit, it was Fairy Bobfather, which was Brother Robbins, who was the person who was also known as the polar bear guy, also the person who killed Betsy, which was the first aid mannequin for CPR. He broke her neck.
He broke the neck of the CPR.
While doing first aid, he was showing us how to do CPR during the first aid class, and while tilting the head back, he went too fast, and the flaps that were in the torso went out. And then they had, when he was putting the head back down, the microphone was on the chest, and you could hear it, and it was super loud when he put it back down. So he killed Betsy, even though Betsy had no arms or legs already. But yeah, so we also called him Sheriff Robbins because everyone had Southern names and Southern accents, which started with a girl named Isla, and then my friends Brooklyn and Morgan, and my favorite big sister, Emily. We called her Chlamydia, which is chlamydia.
Yeah. Super appropriate for LDS Girls Camp. Yeah. What was it about Emily that that made her your favorite big sister?
She was just super she was super funny, and it was easy to socialize with her. And she knew like everybody. It was her last year there at girls'
Mm,
camp, so it made everyone super sad. But she was
mm,
just super funny and fun to hang around with. And yeah,
mm.
so that was that was her.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, real quick before you go on and we go to talk about the dance, tell me about like the relationships that you formed while you were there.
so when I first got there, I mostly hung out with my friends Kate and Emma. They go to school with me. But then I started hanging out with. I became friends. It started with the day on. It started with on Tuesday during the pickup lines. I became close
Hmm.
friends with a girl named McKenna. My old friend. She used to go to our school. Evelyn Adams. Everyone called her Ev. Then there was. I pretty much became friends with everyone
Mm,
once that started. But yeah, I became close friends with almost everyone. People that I weren't exactly close with were Isla, a girl named another Brooklyn, not the one that goes to church with us. And then I didn't really hang out with a girl named Taylor either. She also goes to church with us. But then I sometimes hung out with a girl named Jillian. She also goes to our school, but I didn't really hang out with her. But I'm still friends with her. But those are the ones that I didn't really hang out with most of the time.
mm.
So
But still at the same time though, it sounds like you went in there because I remember when you left, one of the things you were worried about was you weren't sure if you were going to know that many people, and it turns out that you were just friends with everybody by the end.
yeah,
Yeah. So tell me now, so you have the big dance party on Thursday, and when you came
yeah,
home, you told me there were a few songs that you recognized from the breakfast making. Do you remember
yeah.
what songs they were?
Well, I know one of them you don't play it at breakfast, but they played Footloose.
Oh
Um,
yeah. We've played that
yeah,
a few times.
yeah. Well, they played that. They played a Taylor Swift song. I forgot what it's
Mm-hmm.
called. I
Mm.
think it's like the "You Belong with Me" or whatever. I don't remember the
Oh
name.
yeah, you belong with me. Yeah, that's one of her first ones. Yeah.
And they played that. Everyone was screaming the entire time during that one. They played I forgot what it's called, but don't I barely remember it for some reason.
Mm.
It's
That's okay. But you
it's
had
one
a good time.
it's one of the ones that you usually play. It's
Mm.
yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, so you had a fun time on Thursday doing the dance, and then what happened on Friday? I understand there was a big testimony meeting on Friday, right?
Oh yeah. Well, hold on. I'm gonna tell you about the priesthood
Oh
skit.
yeah, yeah. Tell me about the priesthood skit.
It was the funniest one ever. They had a bunch of different
Mm,
princes. There was the grumpy fairy Bob father, which was, like I said, Brother Robbins, also known as Sheriff Robbins. That was his
mm,
southern name. Um, but he was the grumpy fairy Bob father, and they had a sign on the top of the stage that said "My
mhm,
happily ever after is now," and there was this black sign thing that they put over the "is now," and so that said grill, so it says my happily ever after grill, and it was
mm.
like where a bunch of different princes, like it's like a restaurant for the princes. There was Eric, Kristoff, Wesley, Prince Charming.
Wesley from Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
they had who else did they have? Um, they also had Lord Farquaad,
Oh,
which
very
was
nice.
really funny when he came out. He just came out in the
Mm,
middle of nowhere. He was just like, "Hey, what about me?" And there were so many
mm,
jokes about him being short. It was so funny. Oh yeah, there was also Aladdin, but you in the background there was the cook, Chef Louis from The Little Mermaid, and they brought out Hey Hey, Prince Naveen as the frog, and which is from Princess and the Frog.
Mm-hmm.
They had Pascal.
Mm.
They had who else? They had a bunch of other little characters that were the animal sidekicks and like animals that they killed for the dinner, and all the girls were screaming at the top of their lungs whenever they would bring one out to kill. And the fairy godmother would just like high five him after everyone quieted down. And it was so funny. And the next day there was a bunch of missing posters up of the characters that they killed with these little tab things that you could take off that says I saw in the name. But also there was throughout the entire thing there was something called Tinkerbell's red flags from Disney movies, like the red flags for Disney movies. So there's just like this red flag that they had, and whenever anything that was a red flag came up, she'd come out and be like, red flag, and then walk back. And it was so funny. There were so many red flags in that one. And the fairy godfather sort of raised his voice at one of the it was Prince Eric, because he made like a sexist joke. He was like he was talking about Ariel because they were talking about all the princesses. And he was like, it's great. She's a great listener and she never talks back. And he was like, hey, you do not talk about women that way. And it was funny. So yeah, that when that was done, everyone was cheering very loudly. And like I said earlier, Flex Tape Guy was the best ad. They have a bunch of different like things for it's like sponsor that now a message from our sponsor and an ad every other time, and they would have something completely unrelated to what the ad is about, and then they'd just be like, one of them was it was like the first ad that they had was a Doritos ad, and it was like Cinderella lost one of her shoes, and so she decided to put on a pair of running shoes. Doritos, run with it. They have the most random things ever. And it was so funny. And they had Cinderella's shoe hidden around the camp. And if somebody found it, they would get a piece of candy. But yeah, that happened. That was perfect.
So sounds like it was the highlight of the skit, Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now on Friday, I wanted to talk about this because what I've always heard about girls' camp is the testimony meeting is always really special. And did you get to be a part of the testimony meeting?
Well, yeah, each ward had their own testimony meeting. So the day went on as normal. Then at dinner, they had this is a funny part. So they had everybody, there was a flag before breakfast where they put up the flag, and one where they take it down before dinner. And at the dinner one, after they took the flag down, they had awards, because usually they do that at programs, like any area that had awards for free time. They would do that at programs, but we didn't have enough time, so they did it at Flag. I got an award for killing Allie the alligator.
I've heard you told me about this. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, so there was on Wednesday or Thursday, he told us that apparently he found a note in the shed by the waterfront or the pond that said, from the stake before us, that said, somebody be careful because somebody pranked us and brought a baby alligator and put it in the pond. Turns out it was just a fake head of an alligator that went on top of a boat, but the boat broke. So he put the head in like this little thing of weeds on the side of it. And he told everybody, I got a bag of Sour Patch Kids from this, but he told everybody that I went on a paddleboard and saw it, and I was screaming and hit it with the oar and chopped off its head, which is not true. Um, it was absolutely not true. What really happened is I was on a paddleboard with my friends Kate and Evelyn, and we were gonna take Allie, which is the name of the alligator head, across the pond. But he said we had to leave it there, so I pushed it off to try and have her float back, but she flipped upside down.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, it was really funny how
nice.
he said it was way over exaggerated. And
Nice. So you got that award, huh?
yeah, it tasted good.
Nice.
It was tropical flavor, so there's like pineapple and stuff in it. I ate
Oh,
that
from the Sour
yesterday.
Patch Kids.
No, I ate that
Nice.
yesterday. I ate it yesterday.
Nice. Yeah. So now tell me about your award testimony meeting.
Testimony meeting. Oh yeah, they had the testimony meeting was after all the big sisters. They did a candle ceremony for the fourth levels because they were transitioning to be big sisters.
Mm,
So while after the candle thing, all the big sisters and practically everyone was like crying so hard. So and then all the wards split up and they went to a different campfire that was around the camp. And they did like for our ward, they had a dessert afterwards that somebody made, but they had everyone in the circle go once, but they could pass. So I got almost everyone. I think there's only like 2 people who passed. I didn't pass. I actually spoke. I was crying very hard though because a few of my favorite big sisters were leaving, and one of them that we called Polyester Jane.
mm,
She was my friend McKenna's big sister. Her real name was Sierra, but it was her last year, and their family is moving to Fair Oaks, so not very far. But we got they're probably still going to be coming to our girls' camp because they're apparently the stake they're going to only does girls' camp every other year. But after like when we were going to bed, all the big sisters every night would come into every yurt and they would sing a song for bed, and then they would like give everybody a hug and stuff. And when I told Sierra that her mom had my mom's number, she said that one day she's gonna show up at my door front and be like come outside and just show up at our door randomly.
oh, well, I'll be ready.
Yep.
So, well, now, so you had a good time at girls' camp, and that leads me. I asked on all of the Edlow podcast social media pages to send you questions, and one of the questions that came through was, "What would you say to someone who has to do something that they don't want to do but need to?" Like your situation here with girls' camp.
Probably that they should just give it a try. It might be really helpful. Like, I seriously thought girls' camp was gonna be like torture, but I was forced to go by you guys, and so I'm really glad I went. I would probably tell them that I was forced to go to girls' camp. I thought it was gonna be torture, but in the end, I had a very good experience. So that might be really it might be a helpful experience.
Mm. That embeds into another question that a listener asked, and I believe this listener has a daughter that is about your age who is going to be going to public school for the first time this fall. So, what advice would you have for a girl your age who is starting public school for the first time?
Um, I'd probably say that it's gonna be scary at first. Um, every first day of school is scary, to be honest, when you're gonna be meeting new people and stuff. Even for me, I've been going to the same school since kindergarten, and I've always been scared for the first day because I know there's gonna be new people. And last year, somebody spread a rumor about me around the last week of school, like scary stuff will happen. Probably not that bad. My school is just I just don't like my school. People are really bad people, but you're gonna meet. Just be yourself, and people people will like you for who you are. Don't try to be someone else. I learned that at girls' camp because most of the time I adjust my personality to whoever I'm around. But then I realized that it's a good idea to just be yourself, and you'll find people who like you for who you are, not for who you're pretending to be.
Yeah, and that's important because if you don't, if they don't like who you are, then maybe you don't want to be friends with them anyway, right?
Yeah. Like you're
Speaking of that, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say you're gonna meet some people who you're gonna become friends with, but later on you're gonna realize you don't want to be friends with them anymore. I have a friend who we're not really friends anymore. Um, but she created a lot of drama, and I realized that's these past few years. I realized that's not a thing I want to be around. I don't want to hang out with people like that, and so I told her I didn't want to be friends, and every time I did, she'd find a way to convince me to come back to her, which isn't good. And
Mm,
I just, at some point, I just didn't come back. So,
yeah.
because it
So
was just too stressful for me.
yeah,
You're gonna
yeah.
meet people like that some at one point or another. But yeah,
Well, I'm glad you're learning boundaries at a young age because otherwise, when you get older, it's harder. It's harder to create those boundaries if you don't have them early. Another question, you talked about school and you said you don't like school, but you know what? You've got some really good friends at school. One
yeah,
of the questions that came through, someone actually just sent a message that said, and this was all anonymous, said, "You a homie." So I don't know if you know who that is or what, but someone just said, "You a homie." So there you go.
that
Um,
that might have been one of my friends from school. It probably I my friends know that you have a podcast, and like
mm,
some of them have looked up your account on TikTok and stuff. So
so that must be where they got it.
it might have been like Mila or someone.
That's what I thought. So who would you say, this is a question someone asked, who
Okay.
is your best friend?
Oh, I have lots of best friends.
Mm,
One of them is a guy named Jonathan.
hmm
I'm
And I knew
really
you'd say Jonathan.
yeah. I'm really close to him. He's a very good friend.
Mm,
Um, then there's my friend Mila. I've been best friends with her since I think second or third grade. Then hmm, I have my friend Chloe. She moved to Kentucky recently. Um, oh, there's lots of them.
well,
Then I
that's, oh, go ahead.
those are my main ones that I've known for a while, except for Jonathan. Jonathan, I've known him since for a while, but I became best friends with him I think this year. But then I also have my friend Reagan. I've known her since kindergarten. And my friend Julia, she moved to Texas, I think before fourth grade. So
Mm,
I haven't seen her in a while, but whenever we do talk, we rarely do, but whenever we do, we're always still like best friends. And then I made a few new best friends at girls' camp. I became best friends again with my old friend Evelyn, like I said earlier, McKenna, Kate, Emma, and I think who's another one? A girl named Alexis. Um,
so your best friend circle has expanded quite a bit, sounds
yeah,
like.
yeah.
Another, well,
My
well,
school
that's
friends
awesome.
tree too.
So
That
another question that came through, I was questioned about is, I had questions about was, who's the last person you texted? Because you don't have a phone. Do you have a burner phone, Lexi, that I'm not aware of?
no, I if the probably what they well I do text on Messenger Kids, which is I we
Oh,
have
that's
that on
true.
my
I have you hooked. Yep,
yeah.
I have that hooked up.
Then I email people through my school account, and then I do have a regular Gmail account. But
Mm,
I only use that to email another best friend, my friend Jane. Because
mm,
she has a very strict time limit on. She has a Chromebook and a phone, so
mm,
whenever her Chromebook time runs out, she'll go on her phone and we'll email through there. But the
mm,
last person I emailed was, I think, Jane. Then the last person I texted was my friend Braylon from theater camp.
mm. Okay. Well, speaking of theater camp, one of the things that you are very passionate about is theater. You love musicals, and you've done some acting. You've
Not
done some key roles.
mhm.
You're about to embark on another uh, play here in a little while. And so, tell us, where did this come from? Why do you like theater so much?
Well, my grandma introduced to me High School Musical. That's one of the things.
Mm,
I
hmm
love High School Musical. One of my favorite movies. There's also Teen Beach, which is also really good. Not many people know about that one. It's an old Disney Channel movie. It's so cheesy, and that's what I love about it. Um, but like In the Heights, the movie In the Heights is what really got me started on it. It's just
Mm,
the songs and stuff, they were just so good. Like I love singing and dancing, and I've never thought of doing something that goes into both of them because at some point I wanted to be a dancer, and another point I wanted to be a singer. And theater is just like all things in one.
mm,
Plus, you get to meet new people every year, um, and it's just you get to make new friends. You get to you pretty much get to just have fun, and you get to I don't know exactly what else. But just the thing about acting also is that if you're nervous to do something, you you pretty much after memorizing lines and stuff like that, it's pretty much muscle memory, and it just gets you really in the zone and stuff. Like my first play I did was Aristocats, and I forgot one of my lines one time. Every time I do a play, my mind just is blank the entire time. It's I sort of consider it like a relaxing thing because it's just I get to clear my mind. My mind is like muscle memory, like going on a bike. Once you learn it, you never forget it. And it's like I just immediately knew what to do. But when I do forget a line, it's not that stressful because everybody else is there to help you and be your friend and just help you continue and move along. And sometimes you get to do a little bit of improv, which sometimes is really fun. And
mm.
you just add in little bits of um, just little bits of funny quotes or something that just randomly.
So, one of the questions that came through was, what was your favorite musical or show you have been in, and why was it your favorite?
Well, I've only been in two, but my favorite was probably Lion King because
And why?
it was just so much fun. I got to be Timon, and I
Mm,
wanted to be Pumbaa at first, Pumbaa or Nala, but I got Timon, which I was really happy about because it's one of the main roles, and he's just so funny, and I just got to have so much fun. My favorite scene was the hula scene when they're distracting the hyenas because we got to sing. It wasn't the same song from the movie, which made me kind of upset because I love that song. But we got to just be like, they're scared of hyenas, so they're. I remember we're like, what do they want us to do? Put on a skirt and do the hula, and then there were five Rafikis, and two of the Rafikis would come up and bring me and Pumbaa a hula skirt, which we'd put on, and then we distract them. We got to make up our own dance for this part. Um, So we made up a dance, and it was just a really short song. We got to do that, and the hyenas were just like so they got to act so confused, and then they just chase us off. They like then we get to run off screaming as they chase us, and it's just
Nice.
so much fun.
So that was the one, huh? You liked playing the Lion King?
Yep.
So the next question is if you could see any performance on Broadway, what would it be?
Ooh. Probably Heather's, Wicked, or Mean Girls and Newsies. Those are the four ones that I would want to see on Broadway. Those,
Newsies, huh? Have you seen the movie Newsies yet?
no, but I've been wanting to. I know it's on Disney Plus. I was planning on
Yep.
watching that. So those are the I've been wanting to see that and Heather's a lot
Mm,
lately. Um, so I've watched like most of the play Heather's on YouTube.
mm.
It's very funny but very inappropriate. So some parts I skip over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good save there, Lexi. Good save.
Yeah. I skip over those parts, but it's it's like a 80s theme, not exactly 80s, but it's like 1960s to 80s Mean Girls sort of thing, but with death.
Mm,
I just want
mm,
to emphasize that there's death.
mm.
Very, it's yeah, it's a popular show. That and I just heard Newsies was really good, and Wicked is my favorite play. My favorite Broadway song is Popular from Wicked, and also um, I forgot the name of her, but the Good Witch. Um,
Glinda?
yeah, Glinda. That's my dream role in Wicked.
Oh, cool. So that's the one. If you could be in any production, that would be the one you'd want to be in.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that
that's
was another question that was asked, was if you could act in one play, which one and who would you be? It sounds like Glinda, the Good Witch, and Wicked.
yeah. There's a few
Yeah.
other dream roles that I have too. Like one of them, what was it? Some of them I can't even play because I mean one of them is Evan Hansen and Dear Evan Hansen. I am not male, so I cannot play him. Um,
Mm.
there's also Maria from West Side Story, but I'm not Puerto Rican, so I cannot play her. Um, but I one of them is a very small role. I'd just be in the ensemble. It's the person who I just want to say one of the funny lines in the background of Beauty and the Beast. Um, from like in the first song in Beauty and the Beast, you know, when Belle's like just going around in the town and they're all telling each other like good morning. I just want to be one of the girls who says a funny name or a funny line, or one of the I know they're called silly girls in the play, but one of the girls who's like in love with Gaston. That would be really funny.
Nice. So here's another interesting question. If you could write your own theater production, what would it be about?
That's easy. Heartstopper. Um,
Heartstopper?
yeah,
You
the book
would,
Heartstopper. I love that book so much.
oh,
Um,
so you'd convert the book to a musical.
yes. There's also the show
Ah,
Heartstopper, but um, I love Heartstopper so much. It was introduced to me by Jonathan. Also, either that or a Melanie Martinez play, because I love Melanie Martinez. But
oh,
mostly
that's fun.
Heartstopper. At school, we had this thing called Lyceum, and one of the things was writing a one-act play. That was one of the things that you could do for Lyceum. And I wanted to do that at first, but then I found out that the teacher that did that wasn't very nice. Um, but I wanted to
Mm,
do that to see if maybe at some point, if I know how to write a play, I could write a Heartstopper play at some point. But I just have no idea what the songs would be because Heartstopper is nowhere near related to any musical at all.
that'd be a tough one, huh?
Very tough one.
Maybe they've never turned Clueless into a musical, have they?
Oh, that would be such a good musical. They have
Yeah.
not. But they do have a Mean Girls one. They have a Mean
Mm.
Girls, the musical. That's another dream role. I want to be Karen in Mean Girls the musical. Karen is
Nice.
just so funny. My favorite character in the movie. That and
Well,
Janice. Janice is
so so one of the things that well, you got a bunch of different questions. Here's a good one. What gives you the right? Yeah, that came from one of your brothers.
oh,
Says, what
that makes
gives you the right? Let's see. Oh, here's another one. If you had the choice between heaven and pie heaven, what would you choose?
pie heaven. I love pie.
That was one of you. That was your other. That was your other brother. Let's
Oh,
see.
brother,
This
Austin or
did not surprisingly. This surprisingly did not come from one of your brothers. Just an
oh,
anonymous source. Who is the best video gamer in your family?
that's really surprising that it's not one of them. Whoa.
I know. I
It
know.
might have been one of
Interesting.
Lincoln's or Austin's friends. To be honest,
Probably.
I'm gonna say Austin because Lincoln, he just watches videos on how to do things all the time. He doesn't even do it himself. He'll look up videos of people, like literally every time I'm on like the laptop or something, he'll come in and be like, Lexi, can you please look up how to do this in Pokemon? Like how to find this Pokemon, how to find this, how to do that. Like, just do it yourself. Figure it out yourself. Well, Austin, he actually does stuff by himself. He,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's figured it out. But he also has a lot more years behind him than Lincoln does too. He's been playing since he was like 5. So, and I've not been great about the rules on screen time. Oh, here's an interesting question. What do you see as your greatest accomplishment in life so far?
oh, that's hard. Probably, um, that one's really hard. I have a few. One of them is probably my ooh, one. I think it's my first time performing at ballroom dance. Not doing like an actual routine, but I did a first like while I was leveling up to it's called bronze 2 because they don't have just levels. There's bronze 1 through 4. Well, they have a starter, then it's bronze 1 through 4, silver, and then gold. But I was in a starter, and while I was leveling up, I went up really quickly because I'm surprised. I just did. I'm pretty good at it, but we had to perform in front of judges who would give us tips on how to do things. And the only thing was, since I was nervous, I was a bit stiff, and that was the only thing that the judges had to say, that I just need to loosen up a little bit. Everything else was perfect. And it wasn't
Mm,
even a year after I started.
mm, okay. One of the things that came up was someone asked why acting is your dream or goal, and how are you going to accomplish your goal?
Well, like I said earlier, the reason it's my dream is because it's it's singing and dancing in one, and you don't have to be scared to mess up, really. You just, if you
Mhm.
mess up, you just go on like nothing happened, or you can make it like look like it was supposed to be in the play. And
Mm.
then there's also, it's just like I said earlier, meeting new people. I met one of my best friends, Braylon, there. Um, and it was just, you get to meet so many nice people. And yeah, um,
So, how are you going to accomplish this goal?
pretty much by just, I'm, for now, I'm just doing theater camps. But at some point, I want to go into doing community theater. And then at some point when I'm in college, I want to go to BYU. And because I heard they have a good theater program and they're just a great school in general. So,
Mhm.
like, I want to get like lots of experience from theater camps, the local theater, stuff like that. And then until I can actually do professional, like actual hard to get a role kind of theater where you can actually get paid for that stuff.
Sounds like a great idea. I like it. So here's another question that someone asked. What advice would you give to other young people your age about the importance of kindness and setting a good example?
Oh, that's a hard one.
We
Probably.
only ask the hard questions here on the Edlow podcast.
Well, probably that if you set a good example and then like be kind, if you be kind to others and stuff like that, you will start to feel good, like better about yourself, and you'll get, it's like people will like you more. But no, don't be a
Mm,
people pleaser because that's very tiring. Um,
mm,
but you still want to be kind and you want other people to follow because kindness is like a chain reaction. There's a book about it too. I don't know what it's called, but it's like they picked some berries for somebody. It was like a basket of berries, and then they left it at their door anonymously. And then that person made muffins and gave it to someone else. And it just went on and on and on. And it was just a forever chain of kindness. So, like, the more kindness that you give, the more kindness that you'll get. And it's like the more you'll make the world a better place. Like, you don't want to set a bad example and always be rude to others, because then, first of all, no one's gonna like that. No one's gonna want to be nice to you if you're not nice to them. Treat others the way you want to be treated. That doesn't mean if
that's
someone's
absolutely
being
right.
rude to you, that doesn't mean when someone's being rude to you, be rude back. Kill them kindness. Just if you want to be treated nicely, treat others nicely. And
Yeah,
like I said, the
that's
chain reaction will make other people feel better. It'll make you feel better, and it'll just go on and on and on. And if somebody's having like a really bad day or they're going through something hard, and you're nice to them, it'll show them that they're not alone. They can get through it and they'll be okay.
yeah, that's really good advice. And sometimes when someone's being mean to you, sometimes you don't know what's going on, and maybe there's something else going on in their life that's making them that way. And you know what? If you're nice to them, maybe that's exactly what they need to get through it. So,
Mhm.
well, let me tell you what, I'm going to clip that out, and the next time you and your brother is fighting, I'm going to play this for you. So,
Please,
anyways.
please don't.
All right. Well, okay. So one of the things that I know a lot of my listeners know about is our famous Sunday breakfasts. And we have a lot of fun, you, me, and usually your brother. Piper, not so much fun. And Austin is never really involved.
She's always tired.
But yeah, Piper's always in a bad mood in the morning, but she gets through it. But one of the questions that came through is and I already know the answer to this. What is your favorite thing to make for breakfast?
Oh, biscuits and gravy all the way. I don't like gravy on like mashed potatoes and stuff, but biscuits and gravy is the best thing we've ever made at breakfast.
Yeah, that's we found a really good recipe for that. We got a really good gravy recipe.
There's also peanut butter and jelly French toast. I told some people at girls' camp about it, and they said that they're gonna want to look it up and make that because it sounded good.
Yeah, well, I came up. Hey, I saw it on Diners, Drives, and Dives, and I came up with that recipe myself. So they're
But
gonna. That's a
you have
secret.
to,
That's gonna be a.
you never
What's
told me
that?
that. You never told me you made it up
Yeah,
yourself.
I did. I made it up myself. It's gonna be an Edlow family recipe that's gonna go down for generations.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so what is your favorite song that we play during breakfast?
That's probably one of the Taylor Swift songs.
Oh yeah, yeah. Shake It Off, maybe that
Yeah.
one.
That just
Yeah.
any Taylor Swift song really. Taylor Swift's awesome.
What's your least favorite song we play during breakfast?
Ooh, that's really hard. I like all of them really.
Yeah. Well, the 80s are awesome. So that's how that works. And 90s when we play some Backstreet Boys and all that. So
Yeah.
here's a question that I'll answer for you. Are you going to get a tattoo?
No,
No.
never.
Well, there you go. All right.
Uh, there's one thing I want to say. I'm not going to, but like this. So there's this famous like criminal like cannibal person. He said apparently he ate someone with a tattoo once, and the ink from the tattoo made the meat taste really bad. So if you don't want to get eaten by a cannibal, get a tattoo.
There you go.
It makes
Well,
you
that's
taste
good.
really
So,
bad. So yeah.
all right. Here are some interesting ones here. Let's see. I don't think we have time for all of these. Well, let's see. What time did you fall asleep last night?
Well, I fell asleep. I kept like falling asleep and then waking up again. But when I checked the time, it was probably around the time that I fell asleep and then was able to wake up in the morning was around 3 in the morning. I didn't do anything that night. I just sat in bed, like laid in bed. But like I kept falling asleep for a few minutes and then waking up because I was so used to sleeping on an air mattress that would deflate and wake up on a very hard board in the morning that my bed felt uncomfortable to me.
Mm. Well, here's a I like this one. If you could punch one person in the world, who would it be?
Oh, that one's really hard. There's lots of people I want to punch. Um,
Hopefully, I'm not on the list.
oh no, you're not.
Let's see.
Um,
Phew.
oh, that's really hard. Um, probably.
Man, that list must be long.
It is.
We have to get you into anger management.
Probably like. Oh, that's really hard. There's lots of bad people in the world that I would like to punch very badly.
Okay. Well, we leave that question open so that you can punch all sorts of people. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Oh, okay. Well, this is good. There are two questions here. What is your favorite thing about your dad, and what's the weirdest thing about your dad?
Oh, that's the weirdest one is really hard. All of them are hard, really. This is really hard. Take that the way you want to.
Yeah, I guess so.
The best part about you is probably that you're funny most of the time. Most of
Okay.
the time. Your dad jokes are not funny though. Weirdest thing about you is probably how loud you sneeze and how smelly your farts can get. Those two things are the weirdest. Also,
Oh my, I might have to.
and the fact that you like to moon a lot of things, a lot of people.
Whoa, hold on. All right, we're gonna do some editing here. Oh my goodness. Sorry I asked that. All right, well, one more question about me, and then we're gonna get to my favorite section. Okay. What's the best lesson your dad has taught you?
To not get a black car because it is so hot, and when it's hot, and especially when you fart in there, it makes it smell extra bad. Yeah.
Oh man. All right.
And a bit of money management. It's like
And a bit of money management.
that's important.
Yeah, trying to teach you young. I wish I would have. Yeah, I'm glad we get to talk about stuff like that because that's stuff that I don't think you necessarily learned in school, and it's really important.
Yeah.
So, well, okay, let's see. There were a couple other questions that are pretty basic. Let's see. Do you think you're judgmental?
Oh, well, that's hard. I don't consider myself judgmental, Other people might, because at first, probably the first thing that I judge you on, I don't really like judge, but like part of the things that's important to me is like the energy that you give out. Like if I feel like uncomfortable around you, or like I can't speak freely, or like you just give off bad vibes, I'm not really gonna like you that much for a while until I
Mm,
get to know you more. Like I'm gonna get to know you more before I actually finally decide I don't want to be friends with you. But I that's the first thing that I'm probably gonna do. Also, if you're rude to other people. If you're rude to other people, I will not want to be friends with you.
mm, yeah. Well, listen, I have I have a couple of have a little section here. Okay. This is the dad joke section.
Oh no. No, Dad. Please no.
Here we go. Here we go. How does the moon cut its hair?
How?
Eclipse it.
Please
Eclipse it.
no. Dad,
Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold
you
on.
do this
How,
everywhere.
how does a taco say grace?
How?
He says, "Let us pray."
Oh. I can't understand that one. Dad,
When does a
now
joke
of
become a
all,
dad joke?
all times. Now of all
When
time.
when does a joke become a dad joke?
When?
When it becomes apparent.
Dad.
All right. Well, I okay. So we've gone for about an hour, which I think is a lot compared to what Lincoln did. So I'm glad. Thank you for coming on, Lexi, and sharing some of your insights. You've said a lot of interesting, fun things here, and I just want you to know how much I love you, and I think you're great. And I think that I'm really proud of you for gutting through and going to girls' camp, and I'm glad you had such a good time. And one of the things that I think was really important was hearing about how your testimony grew while you were there and how you were able to form such good friendships that are going to help you keep going throughout your life. And I'm sure you're excited to go next year.
I forgot to say something about one girl. There's this girl named
What?
Natalie who I became also pretty close to. We call each other USA. At night, I
Oh.
shared a bunk with her. I was on the bottom bunk before. She was on the top bunk, but she was so scared of heights. She was so scared of heights that I had to switch with her. And since the year is round, there's always this little crack that we just like. She'd look up at me and I'd look down at her, and we'd be like, "Not you, say," and like stuff like that. And it was like we'd always just be it was just always really funny, and she'd always like sometimes she'd put her foot up there and be like, "Nice twinkle toes you got there," and stuff like that, and it was really funny. On the last day, she said, like on Friday, when we were all crying, she was like, "Every time you watch Batman, think of me, okay?" Because she told me, she's like, "I'm Batman. I can't tell you a secret. I'm Batman." And she said she was gonna make my slinky that I brought. We call it Slanky. She was gonna make that the new a villain, the newest villain in her newest Batman movie, and
Nice.
it was
Oh man.
always so funny. She always
Oh,
had
well,
the
I'm glad you
best
had such a
ones.
well, I think that's the biggest lesson to come out of this is that sometimes there's things that we really don't want to do, that we have to do, or that maybe we should do that's going to be good for us, but we're nervous about it and scared about it. And if we think about that, I remember one time, I'll tell you a story, Lex. I remember one time, I don't remember what it was, but I remember there was a class I wanted to change in high school. And the class was, I don't even remember what the class was, but I wanted to switch. And my schedule got all screwed up and I didn't get the class. And so grandma was like, well, let's go down to the school and see if I could work it out. And they'd already kind of told me that they couldn't switch it. So I was like really nervous about going over there. And she was like, no, no, no. And she had to kind of drag me over to the school. And I was fighting her the whole way. And she's like, will you just stop and just let's go? It won't hurt us to ask. Let's just go see if there's something we can do. And so we walk into the class place and we ask him, we say, hey, listen, can we switch this class? Because he really wanted this class and he didn't get it. And without even blinking, the person's like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. And then switch the class. And I was so excited about it. And I came back out, and my mom looked at me, your grandma, and she said, okay, now if I would have listened to you and we wouldn't have gone through with that, you would have been stuck in this other class you really didn't want. And so because you were willing to go there and you were willing to do those things, even though you were nervous about it, you got the class you wanted. And that was a big lesson for me. It seemed like a really small thing now, but it was a big lesson for me. And that's a lesson that you could have learned here today. This time was that you were really nervous about going, but you did, and you had a really great time. And it sounds like you got a lot of memories that you're going to remember forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So.
I took a lot of photos too. Especially, I took a photo at the dance. I took a group photo of everyone, and I also took a photo with my favorite big sister, Emily.
Well, that's great.
Or chlamydia.
Chlamydia, nice.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I'm really glad that you joke about STDs at girls' camp. That's awesome. So, okay, well, I like I said before, I love you, Lex. You're amazing, and all of you are amazing for your own different reasons. Oh, you have something to say?
Also, at girls' camp, all of the years except for the first years got pranked. Someone saran wrapped one of, I think it was the level 4 year, level 3 saran wrapped their yurt so they couldn't get out. We didn't get pranked. The only prank that we did was we got heart attacked by the big sisters, where they put a bunch of paper hearts with good messages all around it. But everyone else pranked someone and also got pranked. We didn't get pranked and we didn't prank someone back, which made me kind of upset. Next year, I'm definitely going to prank someone.
Well, be on the lookout, girls. Yeah. Lexi's coming to prank.
Yeah.
So,
next year.
Anyway, well, everybody,
watch out.
Well, everybody who's made it this far, I appreciate you following for 50 episodes. We got a bunch of exciting ones coming up, including one of my favorite local pro wrestlers who's up next on the podcast. We got a lot of fun ones coming. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow wherever you listen to podcasts. If one of Lexi's little friends are listening, hopefully you made that best friend list.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, she secretly hates you and you're one of the people she wants to punch.
No, that is not true. That is not true. There's a few people that I know that I'm not exactly friends with, but they're not on my punch list.
Oh, good. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And thank you, Lexi. I love you so much.
Love you too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.